All right, so I've got a big weather update for you. There's a lot going on right now, storms and rain moving through the southeast, all part of this never-ending system we've been tracking. That same system is even bringing snow into the northeast, and it's setting up for a major pattern shift that we've definitely got to talk about. But before I dive too deep into the forecast ahead, I want to take a minute to look back at what we just went through, because it was a historic week. From March 30th through April 6th, we had a relentless stretch of severe weather across the Mississippi Valley, the deep south, parts of the Tennessee, Kentucky, and Ohio valleys, and all the way up into the Great Lakes region. Over 60 confirmed tornadoes so far, and some of them were really intense, especially the ones that hit Lake City, Arkansas, and Selmer, Tennessee. During that stretch, the National Weather Service issued around 500 tornado warnings. 200 of those came just on April 2nd alone. That made it the second most active severe weather day since April 27, 2011, the day of the super outbreak. And it wasn't just the tornadoes. Some of the most widespread devastation came from catastrophic flooding. Western Kentucky saw over 15 inches of rain. In parts of Arkansas and Tennessee, it was 8 to 12 inches or more. We're talking life-threatening flash flooding and major river flooding. So far, we know that at least 20 people tragically lost their lives during this event. Search and rescue operations are still ongoing, and the flooding hasn't fully subsided yet. Thousands of homes have been damaged or completely destroyed, and a lot of people have been displaced. All right, let's shift gears and talk about the forecast going forward. We're still watching that same system, and it's bringing a decent risk for severe weather to the southeast. The Storm Prediction Center has issued a slight risk. That's a 2 out of 5, 4 areas in northern Florida, southeastern Georgia, and the Carolinas. Cities like Raleigh, Tallahassee, Savannah, Fayette, Delay, and Columbia are all in that zone. There's also marginal risk around that area as well. Now, depending on when you're watching this, the worst of the storms might have already cleared the Atlanta area and most of the Florida panhandle. But the big show is going to be over South Carolina and Georgia this afternoon around 4 p.m. That's when I expect things to be at their most intense. Some of those storms will also push up into northern North Carolina and parts of Virginia before everything heads out to sea. We could be looking at some hail and maybe a couple tornadoes today, especially near Myrtle Beach by around 8 p.m. But once we get past 9 or 10 tonight, the severe threat should finally move offshore. Florida might hang on to a few lingering storms, but the main severe stuff should be done by then. Along with the severe threat, there's also a decent risk of flash flooding today. The Weather Prediction Center has issued a level 2 out of 4 risk for excessive rainfall, mainly west of the severe storm area. Most of the rain's already fallen, but we could still get another inch or two in some spots, especially across North Carolina and down into Florida. So localized flooding is still a possibility. All this weather in the southeast is being triggered by a massive cold front pushing through. And when we look at the current hazards map from the National Weather Service, you can see there's a huge freeze warning stretching from Texas all the way up into Indiana, Ohio, Kentucky, and parts of West Virginia. That freeze line will likely shift farther northeast as this cold air pushes in. And up in the northeast, we're already seeing winter weather advisories for parts of Maine and upstate New York. All right, back to the weather. Let's take a look at the GFIS model. We start with rain across much of New England today, but as our system pulls eastward, snow is going to move in. I'm expecting winter storm watches to expand across New England, especially upstate New York, Massachusetts, Vermont, New Hampshire, and particularly Maine. The heaviest snow will likely fall Tuesday around 2 p.m. and then taper off by early Wednesday morning. I think we'll see widespread 3 to 6 inches in Maine, with some spots in the higher elevations of Vermont and New Hampshire getting over 8 inches. The valleys will just get a skiff of snow, especially across New York, though a few lake enhanced spots could get over 6 inches. In Massachusetts, some areas might see 2 to 3 inches, but overall, this is mostly a New England and Southern Canada event. Now, the bigger story here is the cold blast that's coming in behind all of this. We've got a major pattern shift underway. This cold front is dragging in some seriously frigid air across the central and eastern U.S. That starts today and continues through at least Wednesday. Some areas are going to be running 10 to 30 degrees below normal. It's going to feel more like February than April, highs in the 20s, 30s, and 40s, even in spots that are usually warming up by now. Even Florida will feel the chill. And when we look further ahead, after the system clears out, another little low pressure system drops down from Canada later this week, installs over the eastern U.S. That's going to bring another push of cold air and a prolonged period of rain and snow. By Thursday, we'll see more moisture building in the Ohio Valley and heading into the mid-Atlantic and northeast through the weekend. Looking out to the northwest, we've got some more activity pushing through, showers across the Rockies and into the Midwest by Wednesday the 9th. But overall, things stay pretty quiet. By Thursday the 10th, those showery conditions push a little further east. But again, it's nothing major. Now, on Friday the 11th, we do see what I call weaker nor'easter setting up. There's some moderate to heavy rain through the mid-Atlantic and southeast, and there's a bit of a clash between that warm air and the lingering cold. If this were winter, we'd probably be talking about a major snowstorm from this setup. But it's April 11th, so we're not quite in snowstorm territory anymore. Saturday brings a little more interest. The model is showing some light to moderate snow in the higher elevations of the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic. Places like the Appalachians, the Finger Lakes, the Catskills, the Adirondacks, Green Mountains, and White Mountains. It's very elevation specific too, which makes sense since we're seeing rain surrounding these snow pockets on all sides. As we move into Sunday, we get a more defined low pressure system over the Dakotas. It brings snow to the northern Rockies and helps push warmer air back into the east. That's the rebound I was talking about really kicks in by Sunday the 13th. Then on Monday, we see that low drifting north into Canada. Now, if this system were to track further south instead, we might be talking about another severe weather event, especially with how warm and humid it's going to be in the southeast. So I'll be keeping an eye on that. For now, though, it looks like some snow for parts of Canada, Minnesota, and North Dakota, with maybe some thunderstorms and a trailing cold front. But that parent low is way up there in eastern Canada, which limits the potential for more widespread severe weather. Then heading into Tuesday the 15th, we do get a couple of days of thunderstorms across the deep south and southeast. Again, nothing too wild. Maybe another cool down around the 16th or 17th, and possibly another dip around the 18th or 19th. But after that, by the time we get into the 20th to 22nd window, it looks like we're firmly back in a warm pattern with no major storms showing up. Switching over to the GFS model, we get a few systems rolling through. One, then two, with that second one, bringing some snow to the Appalachians again. That clears out, we warm up, cool down briefly, and then really start warming again around the 16th or 17th. This model does place some of those low pressure systems further south than the Euro did, which allows for some snow in Montana, Wyoming, South Dakota, and even some thunderstorm activity in Kansas, Missouri, Iowa, and Nebraska. What's interesting is we haven't really seen any major severe weather events in those northern states yet. Like the Dakotas are far northern Iowa, Kansas and Missouri have definitely had their share, but that more northern tier has stayed pretty quiet so far. Definitely something I'll be watching as more heat and moisture start surging northward. Looking at total precipitation, it's honestly a little disappointing. The Northwest looks all right near the coast, and parts of the East Coast are doing okay. But overall, this is a dry stretch. When we check out the anomalies, we can see just how far below average things are, especially inland areas in the east and across the central U.S. Meanwhile, some of the desert regions, which don't normally get much rain, are actually near normal just because no rain is expected for them anyway. Lastly, let's check the Storm Prediction Center's outlook. For day one, we've got a slight risk for severe weather along the southeast coast. The general thunderstorm risk zone, marked in light green, is where we expect typical thunderstorms. But of course, anything can still happen, so always stay weather aware. The darker green zone is a marginal risk, or level one, where isolated severe storms are possible. And that yellow area from Florida through Georgia, South Carolina, and into North Carolina, that's your level 2 slight risk, where scattered severe weather is a bit more likely. For day 2, it's looking pretty calm. Just 3 zones of general thunderstorm risk. So while it's not zero risk, it's definitely a much needed break. Same thing for Wednesday, just general thunderstorm chances. There's no extended severe weather outlook right now, which has me hoping that we get a full week, maybe even 10 days without any big severe weather outbreaks. That would be awesome after how active March and April have been so far. Anyway, that's going to wrap it up for today. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a like. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and maybe even tap the bell so you get notified when I post these daily updates. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.